It started with a smile, a staged photo, a laugh that seemed genuine, but behind the filtered selfies and rehearsed red carpet hugs, something dark had been brewing for years. And now, it's finally boiling over. Juju, usually calm, collected, and unbothered, just dropped a bombshell that has everyone in shock. For the first time ever, she's opening up about the betrayal that changed everything. And she's naming names. One name in particular, Kimbella. In a raw, emotional interview that's already shaking up the love and hip-hop universe, Juju didn't hold back. She didn't cry, she didn't sugarcoat, she delivered facts, fire, and a fierce message. I'll never forgive her. Fans were stunned. Even people close to both women had no idea things had gotten this deep. What could have gone so wrong between two women who once called each other sisters? Was it jealousy? Was it a secret? Or was it something even more personal? Something that had been festering for years behind fake support and silent side-eyes? Tonight, we're diving deep into the real story behind Juju's powerful words. From private conversations and explosive voice notes to loyalty, lies, and a friendship that shattered in front of the whole world. This isn't just drama, it's war. And trust us, you haven't heard anything yet. It all began with a brunch. Not a fight, not a live, not a scandalous video. Just a quiet Sunday brunch. Juju had posted a calm, peaceful photo of her mimosa and avocado toast, captioned, "Peace looks good on me." It should have been just another soft flex on the gram. But within minutes, fans noticed Kimbella had unfollowed her. And in the world of reality TV, that's not just digital shade. It's a declaration. The comment sections exploded. The blogs picked it up. Something was clearly going on behind the scenes. And as always, the internet was ready to dig up every little clue. Sources close to the situation claimed the tension between Juju and Kimbella had been simmering for months. Despite appearances, the two had barely spoken at recent industry events. They were always seated far apart during panels. They avoided tagging each other. And even during group lives with mutual friends, they rarely engaged. It was subtle, almost invisible. But now, that quiet distance was starting to scream. What really shocked fans was that these two women weren't just co-stars. They were sisters in the struggle. Juju had once defended Kimbella when no one else would. She took heat, online just for standing next to her. And Kimbella? She had once called Juju her soul sister on national television. They'd cried together, laughed together, planned businesses together. But now, that bond was gone, and no one knew why. Then came the podcast episode that changed everything. Juju was invited to speak on healing, growth, and betrayal. And while she didn't name names at first, her words were laced with something deeper: pain, bitterness, truth. Sometimes the people you break bread with, she said, are the same ones who throw stones behind closed doors. The host pressed her, asked if this was about a specific person. Juju hesitated. Then she dropped the line that set the internet on fire. I'll never forgive her, and she knows exactly why. That was it. The line. The moment that flipped the narrative. Fans knew who she meant. They didn't need clues. They didn't need confirmation. They remembered the friendship. They remembered the fallout. And now, they wanted the full story. Kimbella, for her part, remained silent. But silence wasn't helping. Within hours, old videos began to resurface. Clips where Juju was standing alone while Kimbella whispered with others. Moments where Kimbella rolled her eyes as Juju spoke. One video from backstage at a Love and Hip. Hop reunion showed Juju comforting a crying Yandy, while Kimbella stood with her arms crossed, looking visibly annoyed. Fans now believed those were signs they had missed. A former producer from the show even spoke anonymously to a blog, claiming that the fallout wasn't new. They've had tension for years, the producer said. They kept it cute for cameras, but behind the scenes, they were always walking on eggshells. And just like that, the storyline flipped from what happened to how long has this been going on? The real twist came when a mutual friend, someone close to both Juju and Kimbella, posted a now-deleted tweet. Some people will literally copy your style, your ideas, and your piece, and then call you the problem. The tweet didn't name anyone, but fans were quick to connect the dots. Screenshots spread like wildfire. Fans pointed out how Juju had launched a book club. And weeks later, Kimbella started her own. Juju had spoken about her celibacy journey. And suddenly, Kimbella was posting about spiritual cleansing and self-love. Was it coincidence or calculated mimicry? Juju, meanwhile, kept things classy, but her posts grew sharper. Captions like, "Imitation is not flattery when it's rooted in envy," and "You can't compete where you don't compare," began to appear on her page. She never named names, but she didn't have to. The energy was loud. Then came the private message leak. Someone in a fan group posted alleged DMs between Kimbella and a third party. In them, Kimbella allegedly referred to Juju as boring, too fake deep, and even trying too hard to be the classy one. She also reportedly wrote, "Juju always thinks she's above us. I'm tired of pretending with her." The messages weren't verified, but they didn't need to be. The tone matched the tension fans had felt for years. Juju didn't address the leak directly, but she did go live. And for the first time, she opened up. Calm, but firm. Soft-spoken, but piercing. "I've stayed silent out of respect," she said. "But sometimes silence allows disrespect to grow. I protected someone who didn't protect me. I defended someone who tried to dim my light behind my back." Her face didn't flinch. Her tone didn't shake. But the emotion was unmistakable. Fans flooded the live with hearts and supportive comments. Celebrities like Remy Ma and Tammy Rivera dropped fire emojis and cryptic words of support. Someone even asked Juju directly, "So it was Kimbella?" And Juju didn't deny it. She simply stared at the screen for a moment and said, "If the shoe fits." As the live ended, one thing became clear. Juju was done being the quiet one. And the very next day, Kimbella posted something that turned the story even darker. A carousel of throwback photos of her and Juju, hugging, laughing, celebrating birthdays. The caption, "I'll always value the real memories, even if some people forget who was there when it mattered." Fans were confused. Was this an olive branch? A guilt trip? Damage control? Juju didn't engage, but her best friend did. In a fiery post on her story, she wrote, "Don't post old memories if you weren't acting like a real one behind the scenes. We saw the fake love. Now own it." And just like that, the line was drawn. Both sides had their defenders. The internet picked teams, the blogs picked favorites, and just when it felt like the storm was settling, another secret was about to drop because someone was sitting on voice messages. Voice messages that had the power to flip the entire narrative. And those messages, they were about to go public because the person who had them was tired of being quiet too. "I don't even like Juju like that. I only deal with her for the cameras." The voice was unmistakably Kimbella's. Fans knew it. Those who had heard her speak for years didn't need confirmation. The leaked voice note, reportedly sent to a mutual friend during a late-night vent session, shattered whatever image was left of their so-called sisterhood. The internet exploded. Fans were stunned. Some refused to believe it. Others had been waiting for this very moment. For years, they said, something felt off between Juju and Kimbella. Now, this clip felt like the final puzzle piece. The voice note continued. "She always want to be the smart one, the classy one. Like, girl, we came from the same struggle. Don't act like you better than me." It was raw, it was messy, and it was brutal. Juju, known for always keeping it graceful, had a choice: ignore it or address it head on. Within 24 hours, she made her move. She didn't go live, she didn't post a selfie. She dropped a 3-minute black and white video of herself walking through a quiet street, voiceover playing her own words. "I don't need to raise my voice to make my truth louder," she said calmly. Some people expose themselves when they think no one's watching. The video closed with her turning to the camera and saying, "And you wonder why I'll never forgive her?" Fans were shaken. The comments were flooded with support. "Stay strong, queen. You were too real for that friendship." This hit deep. It wasn't just a clapback, it was an entire mood shift. Juju was done being silent, and fans were fully behind her. Meanwhile, Kimbella attempted damage control. She posted a statement denying the voice note, claiming it was edited. "People are always trying to come between strong women. I would never say that about someone I once loved like a sister." But her words didn't land. Not this time. Not after everything. And especially not after an insider came forward with more tea. The insider, who claimed to have been on set during multiple love and hip-hop tapings, revealed that tension between Juju and Kimbella went back years. It was always there, they said. Kimbella felt like Juju didn't belong. Like she was too polished. She'd say things like, "Juju's not built for this life." It was jealousy, masked as friendship. This statement brought even more receipts to the surface. Clips from past episodes began trending. One in particular showed Juju talking passionately about mental health and healing, while Kimbella interrupted with jokes, rolling her eyes on camera. Another clip showed Juju crying about personal loss, while Kimbella barely reacted, instead focusing on her phone. The contrast was hard to ignore. One woman was always open-hearted, vulnerable. The other seemed dismissive, cold. Fans started labeling Kimbella as the undercover hater, and the timeline wasn't letting up. But then came the unexpected twist. Juju's brother entered the chat. He went live on Instagram, emotional and visibly upset. "Y'all don't know half of what my sister held in," he said. "She protected that girl when nobody else would. When people clowned her, Juju had her back. And this is how she repaid her? Nah, we not doing that." He claimed there were even deeper betrayals behind the scenes. Business deals gone bad, stolen ideas, and one incident where Kimbella allegedly tried to date a man Juju was seriously seeing at the time. That was the final straw, he said, and Juju still kept it cute. This live opened a whole new layer. Fans began speculating about the mystery man. Was it a celebrity? A producer? Someone from the Love and Hip Hop franchise? The blogs ran wild with theories. Some even pulled up photos from 2021 where Kimbella and Juju were both seen at the same yacht party with a music executive. Was he the one? As speculation grew, Juju posted a quote to her story. "Forgiveness is not the same as access." Fans interpreted it as a final statement. She wasn't going back. She wasn't making peace. This wasn't just a falling out. It was a permanent fracture. Still, the story wasn't done. Kimbella, feeling the heat, dropped a full YouTube video titled "My Truth." In it, she claimed she never meant to hurt Juju and that the voice note had been taken out of context. "I was venting. I was emotional. I didn't mean all of it," she said, holding back tears. But her attempt to win sympathy backfired. Viewers felt it was performative, rehearsed. Even the tears felt forced. Underneath the video, the most liked comment read, "You can't cry now after the damage is done." Meanwhile, Juju continued to elevate. She announced a book tour, posted behind-the-scenes footage of a new talk show she was filming, and to top it off, she launched a wellness retreat specifically for women healing from betrayal. The title, "Never Again." The timing wasn't lost on anyone. The retreat sold out in 48 hours. Kimbella, on the other hand, began to disappear from the spotlight. No more brand deals, no invites to panels. Even a scheduled club hosting gig was reportedly canceled. After backlash, the narrative had shifted permanently. And Juju, she wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. But fans still wanted to know, what exactly happened with the man they both knew? Was that the real breaking point? And would the truth about that ever come to light? Because behind every exposed voice note and every shady post, there was still one piece of the puzzle missing. And when that piece dropped, it would change the whole story. Again, not with a new post, not with a live, but with a silence so strategic it shook everyone. Juju had vanished for 3 days. No tweets, no stories, not even a like on anyone's post. Fans were worried, others were curious. Some said she was just taking a break. But the ones paying close attention knew something was coming. Because the kind of silence Juju kept, it's the kind you only see right before a storm. Then, without warning, she returned. A carousel of black and white photos dropped on her feed. No makeup, no filters, just Juju sitting alone in a studio chair, staring directly into the lens. The caption? "This one's for the ones who smiled through betrayal." The post hit 1 million impressions in the first hour. Comments flew in from fans, fellow celebrities, and even influencers who'd never spoken on her drama before. Something about her rawness hit different. But that wasn't the real shocker. The real shocker came 12 hours later, when the man, at the center of it all, finally came forward. His name was never spoken publicly until now. Derek, a music executive from Atlanta, known for producing some of the biggest names in hip-hop. Smooth, wealthy, always low-key. And apparently, the one man who came between two women who once called each other sisters. Derek went live from a burner account, but fans caught it instantly. The voice, the tattoos, the setting, it was him. And what he said, it changed everything. "I never meant for any of this to go public," he started, "but since I'm being dragged into the middle of it, let me tell my side." He explained how he met Juju first. Years ago, they kept it quiet, tried to build something real without the cameras. He praised her for being grounded, intelligent, and spiritual. "She was the real deal," he said, "but sometimes life gets messy." Fans in the comments were already spiraling. They knew what was coming. Then Derek said the unthinkable. "I started talking to Kimbella before me and Juju were officially over." Screenshots started flashing across the screen. He showed text messages between him and both women, some from overlapping dates. "Kimbella knew," he said. "She told me she was okay with it, that they weren't even close like that anymore." Fans were stunned. He was admitting to everything. Emotional, overlap, deception, the full scope of the triangle that had unraveled two powerful women, and then he dropped the bomb. "What I didn't know was that Juju considered her a sister, and if I knew how much that bond meant to her, I wouldn't have touched Kimbella." It was too late. Juju didn't respond immediately, but within an hour, a close friend of hers posted on Twitter, "We begged her not to date him again." Begged. Her. And she still gave him a second chance. And that girl knew it. The tweet went viral. Fans began piecing together the emotional toll. Juju had been betrayed not just by a man, but by a woman she trusted, a woman she cried with, a woman who smiled in her face and stabbed her in the back. What hurt most wasn't Derek's admission. It was the confirmation that Kimbella had known exactly what she was doing. And Juju? She didn't post a reaction. She didn't do a live. Instead, she issued a statement to a women's magazine where she'd just been featured for her upcoming book tour. In it, she wrote, "Forgiveness is for peace, but sometimes the peace I need is the silence of distance." The quote went instantly viral. It was printed on t-shirts, used as captions, turned into tattoos. Juju wasn't just trending, she was becoming a movement. Meanwhile, Kimbella tried once again to explain her side. She posted a video, no makeup, in her bedroom, crying. She claimed she didn't know Derek and Juju were still seeing each other when she got involved. "He told me they were done," she said. "And I believed him. Maybe I was wrong, but I didn't do it to hurt her." The comments weren't kind. Many called her tears performance art. Some even accused her of manipulating public sympathy, but there were still some who defended her. "Men lie," one commenter wrote. "Why? Are we always blaming the woman?" Another said, "She made a mistake. She's not a monster." Still, the overwhelming reaction leaned toward Juju. Her quiet strength, her calm fire, her refusal to become messy in return. A few days later, Juju appeared on a major talk show. The interview was powerful. When asked directly about Kimbella, Juju said simply, "I don't hate her. I just don't trust her. And trust, once it's broken, doesn't grow back the same." Then the host asked the question everyone had been waiting for. "Do you think you'll ever forgive her?" Juju paused. Her eyes didn't shift. Her voice didn't shake. "No," she said. "I'll heal. I'll grow. I'll thrive. But I'll never forgive her, because she knew, and she chose what she chose anyway." The room was silent. Fans watching live said they had chills. The clip went viral. Again, headlines called it the coldest but realest moment of the year. People applauded her emotional clarity, her refusal to fake peace for the camera, and just when it felt like the story had peaked, another layer peeled back. A voice message from Derek to Juju surfaced. This one from after the drama. In it, he said, "I messed everything up. You were always Theone, and I let clout and ego ruin what we had. Juju never replied. She just posted a quote, "Regret is loud, peace is quiet." And with that, the world finally began to understand this wasn't just about betrayal. It was about rebuilding, about recognizing who's real and who's rehearsed, about cutting ties, even when you love someone like family. But was that the end? Not quite, because someone else had been watching this entire thing unfold. Someone who knew both women. Someone ready to drop a truth bomb of her own. And when she spoke up, she brought secrets no one expected. Secrets that might just shift the story one last time. One that started in a comment section and exploded into a voice that couldn't be ignored. It was Yandy Smith. Yes, that Yandy. Longtime friend of both Juju and Kimbella. someone who had stayed suspiciously quiet through the entire fallout. But now, she had something to say, and she wasn't holding anything back. It began with a comment on Juju's viral quote post. Yandy simply wrote, "Some of us watched the betrayal happen in real time and stayed silent to protect peace that never existed." The internet lost it. Blogs reposted it in minutes. People started tagging her in every thread. They wanted answers. Fans flooded her DMs. Within an hour, Yandy dropped alive, sitting in her kitchen, no glam, just real energy. She took a breath and said, "I wasn't going to speak on this, but I feel like too many people are rewriting what really happened, and that's not fair to Juju." She then went on to explain that she had seen the shift in Kimbella's behavior months before anything ever went public. She started distancing herself. And anytime Juju would leave the room, her whole tone would change. Yandy said, "I told Juju to be careful, but she always saw the best in people, especially in Kimbella." Yandy also confirmed something fans had suspected but never had proof of. Juju had confided in her about Derek. She had told her that she was giving him another chance. She was nervous, but she was hopeful, Yandy said. "She told me, 'I know he's messed up in the past, but I really think he's changed.' And then to find out he was dealing with Kimbella the whole time?" Yandy shook her head, eyes filled with disappointment. Juju didn't deserve that. The comments section exploded. Even verified users chimed in, thanking Yandy for speaking up. Some asked why she stayed silent for so long. She replied honestly, "Because I didn't want to be the one to set it off. But now that the damage is already done, y'all need to know. Juju is not the villain. She was the only one walking in truth." As Yandy's live replayed across the internet, new layers of old drama began to unravel. Fans dug up more moments, where Yandy and Kimbella clashed on camera. Subtle digs, backhanded compliments, shady eye rolls. One reunion clip showed Yandy saying to Kimbella, "I don't deal with fake energy." At the time, it seemed like a typical reality TV line. Now, it was being replayed as a warning no one had understood. Kimbella, clearly cornered, tried once more to save face. She posted a story with a quote that read, "There's always 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth." But no one was buying it anymore, especially after a new piece of audio leaked, this time from a group chat voicemail Kimbella had sent months ago. In the message, Kimbella could be heard saying, "Juju too good at playing victim. She always wants to be the one who glows while the rest of us look messy. Like, girl, you ain't perfect." The tone was icy, calculated. Not a woman caught in heartbreak, but a woman deliberately tearing down someone she once loved. Juju didn't react publicly. She didn't need to, because her fans, her followers, her tribe, they were doing the talking for her. Team Juju trended across Twitter. Edits of her best TV moments flooded Instagram. Influencers began using her quotes as daily affirmations. Podcasts invited her for interviews. She had become a symbol of surviving betrayal, of setting boundaries, of protecting your peace even when it means losing people you once held close. Meanwhile, Derek tried to disappear again, but fans weren't done with him. Someone leaked his DMs screenshots showing he had been reaching out to a third woman in the industry while still involved with both Juju and Kimbella. The caption on the leak said it best. He was the fire, and they were just caught in the smoke. And Kimbella, she was now completely isolated. The people who once defended her had gone silent. Brand deals dried up. Her followers dropped drastically. One event she was set to host even released a statement saying, "Due to recent controversy, we've decided to go in a different direction." And just like that, the woman who once stood in the spotlight had become a cautionary tale. But Juju didn't dance on her downfall. She didn't gloat. Instead, she used the moment to announce something bigger than the drama, a new foundation for women healing from emotional betrayal. The name, the Never Forgive Project. In her words, this isn't about holding grudges. It's about holding truth and letting women know that walking away doesn't make you bitter. It makes you brave. The foundation launch went viral. Celebrities donated, news outlets covered it, fans shared their own stories using her hashtag. And Juju, she just kept walking forward, unbothered, unapologetic, undefeated. But one final twist remained. A message sent to Juju from an unknown number. Short, just one sentence. "You don't know everything yet. And when you do, you'll see why I did what I did." Juju didn't respond. but she saved the message. And fans believe the story isn't over, because every betrayal has layers. And every story, even the messiest ones, still have one more secret waiting to be told. Juju is alone in her home office, the blinds drawn, her phone screen dimly lit with that final cryptic text still hovering at the top. You don't know everything yet. And when you do, you'll see why I did what I did. She had read it a dozen times trying to make sense of it. Was it Derek? Was it Kimbella? Or someone else entirely? One thing was clear. It wasn't over. Not really. Then her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from someone she hadn't spoken to in months. A mutual acquaintance, someone who'd always played neutral but clearly couldn't stay silent anymore. The message was short, but powerful. You need to talk to Tamara. She knows everything. And just like that, the story took another sharp turn. Tamara had been a quiet figure in the background, a former friend of both Juju and Kimbella, someone who'd been present for years but never got involved in the drama. Until now. Juju reached out, and Tamara answered. What followed was a private call that lasted nearly 2 hours, and when it ended, Juju sat frozen, shaking, her breath caught in her throat. Everything she thought she knew had just been flipped, because, according to Tamara, this wasn't just about betrayal, it was about manipulation. Long before Kimbella got involved with Derek, she had allegedly been feeding him lies about Juju, telling him she wasn't serious about the relationship, that she was seeing other people, that she was only with him, for appearances. She set you up, Tamara said. She wanted him, and she planted the seed. Juju listened in silence. No tears, just disbelief. Tamara didn't stop there. She claimed that Derek once admitted, during a party, that he pursued Kimbella because he believed Juju was too perfect, too polished, and that she didn't need him. Kimbella, he said, made him feel wanted. Tamara even had screenshots, texts, between her and Kimbella where Kimbella bragged, "She always plays the saint, but saints get boring. I'm the thrill." Those words hit like a knife. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a plan, calculated, deliberate. And suddenly, Juju understood everything. The cold energy, the fake support, the smiles laced with poison. This wasn't a fallout. It was sabotage. But instead of rage, Juju felt something else. Closure. She didn't need to expose Tamara. She didn't need to post receipts. The truth, finally, had found its way to her. And she was done bleeding for people who never deserved her loyalty. She issued one final post, a photo of her in a white dress, standing barefoot on the edge of the ocean, wind in her hair. The caption, "Forgiveness is a gift, and I've decided to keep it for myself. No names, no tags, just clarity." The internet reacted instantly. Fans called it the most graceful mic drop in reality TV history. Even celebrities who had stayed out of the drama reposted the photo with messages like, "This is how queens move," and "The art of elevation." Kimbella, silent for weeks now, deleted dozens of posts from her page. Derek vanished again. No one had seen or heard from him since his last failed attempt to spin the narrative. Juju, on the other hand, was invited to speak at a women's leadership summit. During her speech, she said, "They tried to break me by playing games in the dark. But what they didn't realize is, I don't live in the dark. I shine through it. Shine through it." And that was it. The final word. A woman betrayed by her sister, wounded by love, manipulated behind the scenes, and yet she didn't crumble. She built. She healed. She soared. And while the world may still whisper about what happened between Juju and Kimbella, one truth remains louder than all the noise. Some friendships are lessons. Some betrayals are blessings. And some women, they rise anyway. And as Juju continues her journey, writing, healing, helping others rise with her, one thing's for sure, this story will be remembered. Not for the mess, but for the woman who refused to let the mess define her. And there you have it. The full truth behind why Juju will never forgive Kimbella, unfolded in voice notes, exposed messages, backstabbing plots, and a betrayal that cut deeper than anyone could imagine. What began as a quiet distance turned into a roaring storm, unraveling years of fake smiles, buried envy, and secrets too heavy to stay hidden forever. Juju didn't just survive this, she transcended it. She chose peace over pettiness, truth over theatrics, and most of all, self-worth over toxic loyalty. While others scrambled to defend their lies, she stood tall in her silence. And sometimes, that silence speaks louder than any scream. Kimbella may have tried to rewrite the narrative. Derek may have played both sides. But Juju, she owned her pain, her growth, and her power. And in doing so, she reminded millions that being betrayed isn't weakness. It's just proof that you were never afraid to love with your whole heart. But now the question turns to you. Do you think Kimbella truly planned this from the start? Or was she caught in a messy situation that spiraled out of control? Should Juju eventually forgive and move on? Or is cutting ties with fake friends the only way to grow? And what about Derek? Was he just a pawn or the mastermind behind it all? We want to hear everything you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Let us know whose side you're on and what you would have done in Juju's shoes. And if this story shook you like it shook us, hit that like button, subscribe for more untold celebrity drama, and tap that bell so you never miss the next scandal. Because in the world of fame, friendship, and betrayal, the truth always comes out. And it's never what you expected.